Hey Denise.
Yes.
Are you ready to shoot an episode of Can We Talk?
Yes, I am. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Denise Sutton, along with these three fabulous women who are with me this evening, and we're going to have a discussion. These women are phenomenal authors in their own right. I have Miss Tiqua Scarborough, Miss Tiara Soto, and Tawanda Sparks. And these are the three women, three stories, and three overcomers. Yes, three women, three stories, and three overcomers. And these overcomers have great things to share with us. Last week, my co-host, Miss Yavelle Lisa, just took the cake. She took those ingredients for those cakes and she stirred them up in the pot. And tonight, we're going to take that cake from what we learned last week and we're going to put it in the oven and turn up the fire. We're going to turn up the fire now tonight, y'all. So get ready, get ready, get ready. But now we're going to go into these three phenomenal women with their three stories and their three overcoming aspects. I'm going to start with Miss Tiqua Scarborough. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself, the name of her book, and tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi, so I am Tiqua Scarborough. I am an author, I'm a speaker, and a coach. I am the author of Embracing Your Season of Singleness. I am a single mom, a single grandma, glamour, that is. I still work my 9-to-5 job, and I am an entrepreneur as well. So welcome to the panel.
Thank you, Tiqua. And now we're going to go to Miss Tawanda Sparks. Tell us the name of your book and a little bit about you.
I am the author of Weeping Courage, which is a memoir about complexities and oppositions a young woman can face in society. Many different things: domestic violence, poverty, those things, being a teenage mom. And now I am an author, life coach. I'm also co-contributor of Women on the Rise, All Assets book and docuseries.
All right. All right. And so we're going to next go to Miss Tiara Soto. And she wrote this book. And speaking to Tawanda just now, I noticed she has a lot of hats. But I'm going to let Tiara tell us a little bit about her book and a little bit about herself.
Hi, I'm Tiara Soto. I'm 38 years young. I'm
right.
a mother of two beautiful girls. I am also a wife. My book is The Many Hats of a Woman. I felt that a lot of women, do a lot in life and we play a lot of many roles. We are phenomenal and strong. And this is what inspired me to write this book. And I started writing as of January 2020. I finished in June 2020 and launched my book in July. I love to inspire women. I'm also an entrepreneur. And I want to impact the world and change lives and help people realize that they can live their best life.
You know, that word impact is so strong. Impact, entrepreneurs. And each one of you in your own right are entrepreneurs. Each one of you are making a difference in this world and in the life that you're living. But it didn't always start out like that. So I want you each to tell me a little bit deeper as to why you birthed the book. We're going to start with you, Tiara. Tell us, why did you write your book? What was the premise behind it?
Okay, so I was looking for something in life. I always started many things and I never finished. Like, I couldn't find my passion. So I would try, I've tried like to do network marketing. I've tried a lot of different things. I've tried selling products. I've tried everything, Me, I have a boss mindset. I feel like I don't knock a 9 to 5 job because I have one. So I don't knock it, but there's more to life than just working. So I was struggling, I wasn't always the tiara I am today. You
Mm.
know, I would drink a lot. I found myself really in a bad place, a dark place.
Mm.
And I met my husband. I started changing my life, because I was a single mom. I raised my girls singly. I started at 16, had my next daughter at 17. So I had
Wow.
them a month and 2 months apart, a year and 2 months
Wow.
apart.
Wow.
So I found myself in a dark place. I met my husband. He was wonderful. He was such a wonderful man, and he helped me accomplish my darkness. He brought light to my life. And we sat down one day and he was like, listen, you start all these things, but you never finish. Like, what's going on? You got to find your passion. What are you passionate about? And we had the conversation. So I said, well, I'm passionate about singing because I love to sing. I'm not saying I'm the best singer, but I love to sing. But I love to write. And that's something I've always loved to do since I was a young girl. And he said, well, why don't you try that? Look into that. Sit down and explore that. And maybe because that's your passion, you're going to do something with it and you're going to accomplish great things. And that's exactly what happened. I sat down and I said, oh my God, where would I begin to write? Like, what would I write about? And I started thinking about all the women in my life, my family. I have a very wonderful support system, like we said last week. It's amazing. But I
Mhm.
see these women that I meet, even these women here, you guys, I meet phenomenal women that do a lot, that inspire other women to be great. We're strong, we're courageous. We do all these things. We're moms. We do a lot in life. And I said, you know what, that cannot be unrecognized. I have to do something with this. And that's what sparked it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I'm the happiest I've ever been.
I'm so glad you did too, sweetheart. Oh my gosh. I'm on this line right now with 3 phenomenal women and 3 moms. All 3 of them are moms. I'm not a mom, but all 3 of these authors are moms. And they each have a story to tell. So Tawanda, we're going to go to you. Tell us a little bit about your story.
So with my story, I went through a lot as a kid. My mom, we moved from house to house in a very small historic town, Tuskegee, Alabama. We moved a lot. We didn't have much. We didn't have money. We always found ourselves either being evicted or having to move. And it started to affect me as a child. And also it started to follow me as I got older. Even though I was one of her, I have 2 other siblings, 2 other sisters and a brother on my mom's side. And out of her children, I was the only one to go and graduate, go to college, and just try to branch out and do something totally different. But although I did those things, it kind of felt like the cycle of poverty just kept following me, or I kept finding myself in the situation. So I needed to relocate for one, and I left and I moved to Georgia. When I moved here, I still felt like I was following that same cycle. It's like I just couldn't make enough money, couldn't make ends meet. So I started looking into like different streams of income. I started reaching out to people, women that I didn't know them, but I wanted to follow them and just to see, what it is that they're doing. And so I came across a business coach, and I just told her, I was like, I always start things, I never finish. I'm looking to, branch out to the entrepreneurship and just sort of get my life together so that I can have generational wealth. I can pass it down to my kids. And she was like, what are you passionate about? And I'm like, I'm passionate about helping people. I feel like I share my story enough, and tell people what I go through that, maybe it can help them. She said, well, you know what? that's going to be your start right there. You always said you wanted to write a book. Remember, you told me that? And I was like, yeah, I did tell you that. She was like, okay, so this is going to be your start. You're going to write that book. You're going to finish that book, and you're going to put the book out. You're going to publish it. She said, now that's going to be your story. You can share that story with other women and you can help them. So you're passionate about helping others. This is the way that you can branch out. Once you get that book out, then you're going to go from there and other streams will follow along. So when I thought of Weep Encourage, I thought about my life. I thought about the story, what the messages are that I can share with everybody else. And I'll start writing, and I completed it.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. I have 2 women who have already shared that they were seeking to do something and they started something but never finished it. How many of you out there can say the same thing? I've started something but I never finished it. I believe God. He helps us in our process. See how the shift turns? You start from a bad situation, but when you let the light come in, and God is the light. When you let the light come in, things can turn and shift. And now we're going to go to Tikwa, who is the author of Embracing Your Season of Singleness. Tikwa, tell us about your story.
Well, my story is that growing up, I grew up in a Christian home. We knew right from wrong. We knew what was a sin. So my mother already planted the seed. But as we are in our young teenage life, we want to do other things. We want to experience other stuff. My mother, she was very, tight with her kids, where she was like protective of us. So a lot of things, especially me as the girl of the family, it wasn't much things that I can experience because my mother didn't want me to travel. She didn't want me to go to parties. She didn't want me to do this. And everywhere I went, my mother was there. At my graduation of my junior high school, both my parents was there. Okay. So I didn't have the freedom as other girls did. So during that time, you want to venture out, you want to experience things. So although my mom was telling me that, thou shalt not kill, telling all the commandments in the Bible, do not sin, can't have sex without marriage, and things like that. So that was the one thing that, I disobeyed in. And when you disobey, there's consequences to certain things, right? So I ended up being pregnant. Now, all the dreams that, my parents wanted me to have, what they didn't have, and the dreams that I have for myself, now I'm here, a young mom taking care of a baby, and not just one baby, because I was expecting one baby. And when I went to premature labor, that's when I found out I was having twins. Wow. So that day, whereas a normal person, who's married or ready to have a baby, will be ecstatic and happy, I was crying because I wasn't prepared for a 2 baby. I was like, okay, I'm not even prepared for 1, let alone 2. Wow. Okay. So that right there shaped my world because I was in shock and I was crying. Then when I had the babies, I went into jump from now trying to, come to a realization that I have 2 babies, and then one gets sick. Operation. Emergency operation, his intestines, he had to get his appendix out, 7 days old.
Wow.
Right after that, my other son had a cardiac arrest at 7 days old. Now, at that time, as a young woman, it was a lot. I was on overload.
Yeah. I
was uncontrollably crying, didn't know what to feel or how to handle this. I never had to really talk to a doctor unless my mom was there. So these are the things that I had to deal with. And then coming from that, I had to learn how to take care of those 2 kids. Their pain was my pain.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm just at the sight of blood, I'm like frantic. So just to see my kids in tubes and needles, and I was like, I can't do this. But the doctor said, you can, and you will, because this is your babies. I was the only one in the NICU that was there. These are older parents, okay, that married, their babies in the NICU, but the only one that was in the NICU was me, 19-year-old Tikwa, standing by her baby sides, praying that my babies will be okay when they get out. So that was my life growing up. 11 months, one of my babies passed away. Before that, that's when I found out he was deaf. He could not see, he was blind. We had to go through operations because he could not control his swallowing because he was brain damaged. We didn't know how brain damaged he was until he took those extensive tests. And that's when we got those results. And then that brought up a lot of emotions and things at that time as a young mom. I had to feed him. I had to be a nurse.
Yeah.
I had to be a nurse for 2 babies.
Yeah.
A nurse. Okay. So my life was, I didn't know what was going on with my life, but the only thing that I knew was that I was going to be there for my babies no matter what. So this is how I'm able to do the things. People ask me, how you are a mother, an entrepreneur, a coach, and you're working a 9 to 5. That's why. It started from those 2 babies. It started
by the grace of God.
Yes, exactly.
So while you were going through all that you went through at the age of 19, you were young. You were a baby yourself. What was that thing that helped you to realize I want more? I understand you used to fall in love with watching television and falling in the whole fantasy of being married, having the husband that supports you and having the children and the white picket fence and the house and the dog. What helped you to move out of that into this new Tikwa you are with all of these hats? Just like Tiara's book, all of these. What made you move from one to the other? What was the catalyst?
First of all, it was my parents, the support of my parents. No matter what the situation was, they was there as my rock and my support. So even if I decided to go back to college or do whatever, they were with me. I was not even thinking about entrepreneurship at that time, although it was in my book, my journal. A lot of things were in my journal. But God had to take me on a different journey in order for me to grow as a woman and experience different things, whether it was in a relationship with a man or a relationship with other relationships with coworkers, people that I have met. So all those things shaped me into who I am now. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect now. You know, I haven't really reached the full potential that God even wants me to take me even further. I haven't reached there yet, but I know that I'm going to get there because of all the lessons learned from the age to now. So it starts from that grounded upbringing from my parents and my mom planting the seeds, planting the seeds. I may have strayed away, but God, I came back.
I'm going to go to the as a comment to make. We were talking earlier, Tiara. I already know this answer, but tell the audience, who was your biggest hero or inspiration for your growing up and your being?
Go
ahead, tell it.
I could relate to Tikwa. My parents, my mom, that's my hero. She's in paradise. But she inspired me. I mean, I was blessed because God has blessed me with wonderful parents, because not everyone can say that. So he blessed me with wonderful parents that I can say, you know, my mom, she was my rock. Like whatever it was at whatever time. there. She molded me. This is the woman you're going to become. I was also a young mom. I was 16 when I had my first daughter. So I was really young. You know, you ignorant, you're naive, you're in the street, you're not listening, you're rebelling. It happens. But I thank God that he gave me my mom, because she to be the best version of myself. And she told me, listen, you're going to have this baby. You're going to be in that baby's face every morning when they wake up, and every night. And right after I had my second baby, but she molded me with her ways and her advice and everything she instilled in me. She molded me to be the mother. I mean, I'm not perfect, like Tikwa said. You're not perfect, but you still grow. You always remember everything that your parents tell you and teach you. And, you know, you read the Bible, you pray, you have faith. You mold yourself as you grow too. You know, they might not be here giving you that, but you always have them in here. And you find it in your ways. Like sometimes I see myself and I'm doing something like my mom does. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? Like, it freaks me out. But it's so true, because you're always going to have them. They're always going to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
So this is what your children. And I thank God that he made me have my mom in my life, that I had the opportunity to have those years, whether it was not forever like I thought it would be, because we always think, yeah, there's always time. There's always time. We have forever. No, we don't. Time is not promised. Tomorrow's not promised to us. Time is not promised. So you never know. But
Yes.
you hold that and you pass it, pay it forward. You know, and this is what I tell my girls. And I thank God my girls are great. You know, they're not the best kids in the world, but they're mine. And I know that God, I pass it forward, and I teach them as much as I can that my mom taught me. So, you know, and they're doing college, they're doing what they have to do. I'm still not a glamour, but I pray that maybe one day, it happens. So, but that's what I am.
Tawanda, I'm hearing from Tikwa, I'm hearing from Tiara. Tell us your story. How were your parents? Were they your influence? Different?
Totally different. So with my parents, I had my son when I had just turned 16. My sister had actually two kids by then. She started when I think she had her first 15, 14, something like that. But my parents were there. My dad wasn't physically in the home, but I would see him a lot. My mom was there, but I didn't have anybody to push me. I didn't have anybody to say, this is how you do this. I did take on some things from her by watching her, but I didn't have that motivation, that push. Everything that I basically did or learned, I learned by, watching others or just watching her. She didn't know how to express to me. She didn't know how to teach me how to talk to me. So I wasn't one of those that had a relationship with mom where you can go sit down and talk to mom about anything. That's not how I grew up. In my home, we were never told we were loved, but we knew we were loved because, she was there and she provided as best as she could. But I actually went to work right after having my son. I found a job and I started after I had him, I think it was like 2 months after having him. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get a job so that I can help take care of this baby. Even though the father was there, it wasn't like if you were grown, you had the husband and all of that. It was like we were two kids. We really didn't know what we were doing. And so I went and got a job and I pushed myself. I took care of my son. I did those things on my own. I continued to go to school. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, get up. You need to go to school. I was up before time going to school, even after having my son. So My mom wasn't that active as in showing me. So as I hear them talk about it, it's a totally different feeling for me. It's emotional because I don't have that. And that's the type of parent I want to be able to go and talk to her. I want to be able to share things with her, but I can't. It would be used against me, or I would be looked at some type of way, because that's just what type of home I lived in, or that's where I grew up. I'm not bashing my parents, but I just felt like I didn't have what I needed from them. I still needed their love. I needed their attention. I needed a mom I can talk to and share things with, but I didn't have it. So now I've made a change. That's why I'm so open with my kids. Come to me, come talk to me. Whatever it is, I need to ask you how you're doing. What is it that you're doing? Where's your mind? And I even tell them I love them, because it's something that I never got. So now I get to tell my daughter, I love you so much. You're so beautiful. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I get to tell them that all the time because I didn't get it. So now I want to make sure that they know they mean so much to me. So I've changed a lot of things from how I grew up in the home to spreading it out to my children of how it should be.
So it almost seems like the cycle was broken with you.
Mm-hmm. The cycle was definitely broken with me.
Cycle was broken with you.
Mm-hmm.
What was that thing in you that led you to break the cycle? I understand, you at one point you blamed your parents for the things that happened to you. You blamed your parents about getting involved into domestic abuse. Tell us, what was that catalyst that said, look, I'm going to finally choose me? What was that?
That desire to want more is what really got to me. Like, I knew there has to be something. There's something better out there. There's something greater. You're not meant to just be born here and stay here and feel stuck. I could go on and on about this situation. Like, I felt stuck. I felt like, oh, this is what I was wanting. So let me just settle in it. Let me just stay here. Let me watch everybody do this, that, and the other. And my desire to want more, want better is what pushed me out. That is what actually broke me from my family. I said, you know what? You got to get up and go. You got to take your kids away from them so that first you can get them by yourself. You can work on them. Then if there's anything else, you can reach back and help whomever that is wanting the help, if you can give it, So when I branched out, when I left, I barely had anything, but all I knew is that I had the faith, I had the perseverance, and something greater was coming. So I took the first move, and my desire to want better is what got me here today.
Hey Denise,
Yes.
are you ready to shoot an episode of Can We Talk?
Yes, I am.